Well, Dan, I promised you a guess. I've only gone and done it.
Matt, you smashed it out of the park this time. So pleased. Go on.
Let's not waste a single second more with pre-chat. Run the sting and let's get this started.
The big man with a big goal on the big occasion.
So, listeners, it's episode 15 of You Are My Oxford podcast, and we're joined by none other than Mr. Dependable, Mr. Reliable, scorer of absolute worldies, Mr. Oxford United himself, an absolute legend, Sir Leslie of Robinson, Sir Les for short, Les or just Robbo. Les Robinson, welcome to the podcast. How are you, sir?
Thanks, Matt. I'm brilliant. Thanks, buddy.
Not a bad intro, eh?
Yeah, super. Oh, God.
For the listeners, we are looking at some lovely pictures of Sir Les from over the years. Les, I must admit, I don't remember you with a... Well, I don't remember you not having a moustache, and then I don't remember you with a moustache. It's really weird. What was the moustache about at the beginning?
I've got to be honest with you. I grew it from being 12, so... And I was still trying when I got to Oxford, so it was just one of those... I was that good at growing it, it weren't worth removing.
Les, it's lovely to have you on the pod.
No worries, Matt.
For younger listeners, and we know we have a huge audience of them, of course, Les had a career which spanned 2 decades at Oxford United. He joined in March 1990, finishing in May 2000, I think it was. Played 458 games for the Yellows, played alongside many great players, won a promotion, and almost never, ever had a bad game for Oxford United. That's some record, Les. How do you look back on your time at Oxford?
A bit different to you, obviously, Matt, because I thought I had a few stinkers, but thanks for that. Yeah, my time was brilliant, mate. I mean, to spend 10 years at Oxford and, what with the players that came through and, I sort of helped develop to, the ones that went on to play Premiership football and international football. It was just a great time.
Les, it's tradition in this pod that we have a little quiz, and this quiz is obviously going to be loosely based around you. I'm going to let you and Matt work together as a team to answer the questions.
Good.
I'm going to give you until the end of the podcast as well to answer the questions, so you can have a little think as we go through, but I'm going to read you the questions now. Question 1. What was unusual about Les's first 2 games for Oxford United?
Oh, got this one.
You got that one. Good. I thought you might get that one. Question 2. Les scored 6 goals for Oxford United. Whom did he score against?
I can remember a couple, definitely. All right.
How many games did it take Les to score his first goal for Oxford United? Mr.
I'll never get that one.
Question 4. Popular and hilarious fanzine Yellow Fever had a regular cartoon about Les in which he was portrayed by which animal? Les, that was my fanzine, and I used to sell it to you outside the ground.
I remember that.
Now I'll find out whether you actually read it or not. We had a cartoon character about you.
Oh, it's a long time ago, though, Dan.
I'll never get that one. But...
Question 5.
Yeah.
Have more goals been scored by Les's or Robinson's for Oxford United?
Ooh.
Good question. Oh, all
Question
right.
6. Well, there's 8, I think, in total. There have been 2 other players called Les and 2 other players called Robinson who played for Oxford. Name them.
Okay.
Question 7. Who played right back in the game before Les's debut and who played right back in the game after he left? I think one's quite easy and one's very difficult. Okay?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And last one. What song was number 1 on March the 19th, 1990, when Sir Les Robinson signed for Oxford United?
Oh, my God.
Oh, I'm going to have a good crack at that one. But get thinking, Les. And
I'm already doing it, mate. I'm already doing it.
All right, we'll get back to those later. How you feeling, Les? How many do you think you might have out of those?
At least 3.
Okay.
So I'm quite pleased with that, though, to be fair, mate. At my age, I forget a lot of things.
Don't we all, my friend? Don't we all?
So, Les, we thought rather than try and talk about 11 seasons with Oxford United, which would, of course, take hours,
Yeah,
we'd instead pick some memorable games you played in and talk around those.
sounds good to me, mate.
So first up, Les, we thought we'd talk about the cup run of 1991, which culminated with that game at Tottenham. But we shocked everyone, first of all, with a win at Stamford Bridge, a game that sadly I wasn't at. A game that Match of the Day, really annoyingly, only showed one of the goals from, which is this one.
I don't think they was particularly good at that time. Do you know what I mean? So it didn't surprise us that we went there and won, and we were a decent team, mate. As you know, in '90s, we was a good team, especially early on.
I'm going to read you the team from that day, and it
Go
was
on, mate.
Vasey, Robbo, Smart, McLaren, Foster, Melville, Magilton, Les Phillips, Dernan, Nogan, Simpson. A few other players in the squad at the time: Foyle, Steen, Mike Ford, of course, a young Joey Beauchamp, Dave Penny, Kerry Evans, Mickey Lewis. That's a strong squad.
Yeah. I've got to be honest with you. I thought it was better than that, but yeah, that's again really good team, great lads. That camaraderie and that. Do you know what I mean? That team effort. We was good in that. We was good. We was good.
Who were your buddies in that team?
I roomed with Mickey Lewis in my time there. Yeah, travelled from Banbury for about 5 years with him as well. So I'd say Mick. But we were all mates. We all went out for a drink together, and we all sat and had a moan at each other when things weren't so good. But yeah, we was a good team. Andy Melville was a cracking lad as well. I really got on with Andy.
Brian Horton, who obviously brought you in. How did that
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. It was actually it wasn't Brian that first spotted me. God, it was Mark Lawrenson. But Mark Lawrenson had gone to Peterborough. In them days he left Oxford and went to Peterborough, and Brian took over, if you remember. But yeah, so Mark Lawrenson fancied us. But he was at Peterborough, and it was like 150, 200 grand, and they couldn't afford it. So he's obviously had a word with Brian and said, go and have a look. They were obviously impressed.
Les, you were competing at the time, and this has just totally escaped my mind until I was doing a bit of research today. But you were competing with Gary Smart for a place at right back.
I think what happened, Dan, they signed me to play instead of Gary Smart. That was basically it. Because I know Gary went and played a few games at left back while I was playing right back at one point. But yeah, I think I was there to sort of replace Gary, if I'm being honest, mate.
And yet he stayed, as I found out today, he stayed for another 4 years and played 150 games while you were there as well. So you must have really been like swapping or competing. I guess you're pretty versatile and played other positions as well.
If I'm being honest, mate, I didn't realise he'd stayed for 4 years after. But he went over to left back and played a few games at left back and that. Because I think, and I'm not being big-headed with this, but I think I sort of played the majority of them games. Do you know what I mean? I if I was fit, I never missed. I do know. I don't know how many years it was before I had me one bad injury that kept me out for an earlier season. So that might have coincided with it as well. But again, great lad, Smarty.
Yeah, what was he? I mean, it's because he never scored a goal. He's never interviewed by anyone ever. He's just like this kind of quiet lad with a kind of sensible haircut who played either right back or left back, and obviously didn't get forward. He's just a complete I'd say almost non-player. So tell me something about him, because I know nothing about Gary Smart at all.
Well, first of all, you've mentioned his haircut. I think that's all right. I don't know. It was minging. But just he's got a bit of pace about him. He was, as I say, he was a nice lad. He got plenty of challenges in. Gary was a good player in his own right, and I think. I don't know if Brian thought he wasn't quite good enough to play week in, week out, but he was definitely good enough to come in and take somebody's place and put in do a good job. Bit like myself, really. Play anywhere, go in, do a good job, and and he was reliant.
So you beat Chelsea, and then you get drawn against Tottenham, I think it was. Lineker,
was.
scoring in that side, TV cameras, all that kind of thing.
He was brilliant on the day, and that without Gaza, we'd have won that day. If Gaza didn't play for Tottenham that day, we'd have beaten. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
He was just unplayable. You saw his goals. He's gone past 3-4 players, not one or two. He was outstanding that day.
And who got to swap shirts with him afterwards?
I don't know. I think Steve Foster might got his shirt, thinking back. But I think that, obviously, Fozzie was on his way out, wasn't he? And it's funny, the shirt collecting, it's like, you don't think when you're younger. I've got about 20, I imagine. And I got them all in that last 2 years when I thought, shit, I'm nearly, I'm going to be out at games soon. I ought to have some reminders somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
That day, you're right. We did play so well that day. We got loads of plaudits afterwards. It was on Match of the Day, and all the kind of pundits said how well we played. And the season seemed to totally turn after that as well. We were actually struggling that season until kind of around that game. Then we went on that incredible 16-game unbeaten run. And honestly, I thought, had we got into the playoffs, and we almost did, I think we would have won them.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, I think playing as well as we did against Tottenham at Tottenham and beating Chelsea in round before, I just think it sort of opened our eyes up a little bit. Nothing to be scared of because we're good enough. And yeah, we on the, as I say, on that day, just to say though, Lineker, to say that he never got booked, that was the biggest con that I've ever heard. He was giving it that all through game to refereeing that. Absolute disaster. He shouldn't. There's no way he should have gone through his career without getting booked.
But not quite the Mr. Nice Guy that we're led to.
Yeah, he was a dick.
Yes, that's a headline. Listen, Les, it was, I guess, quite a first full season for you at the Manor. And obviously, you cut your teeth at Mansfield, Donny, Stockport, these famous northern clubs. What did you make of Oxford when you arrived, and the club when you moved into the area?
I've got to be honest with you. I had to arrive first because I didn't know where I was going, where it was. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It might sound a bit, but that was God's honest. And we ended up. I come down to talk to Brian Orton, and I stopped the weekend. Mick put me up in a hotel. He met me at a train station and all that. But had I known that it was 2.5 hours in car, I would have drove. Do you know what I mean? I jumped on a train that had to change at 3 different places because I didn't know where Oxford was. And in them days, it were route planners, not your Google Maps. So it was a bit harder in them days. So just getting here in first place was a bit of a trek. But yeah, came down. I stopped in Diggs for because I came in deadline day, so that'd be March, wouldn't it? And I stopped in Diggs until end of that season. And unfortunately, I signed even though Brian knew that I was injured. So I didn't get to play until the last game of the season. But it was still great to be a part of Oxford at that time, and just being there, and then I'd sort of settled in by the time it came to the season and I was fit again. Okay,
we're going to move on a bit, Les. We're going to go on to 93-94, an FA Cup tie against Leeds United that went to a replay. Now, to set the scene, that was another season we were struggling a bit. But again, we had a couple of very, very good signings in Matt Elliott and John Byrne. We were starting to improve, but as always, it seems there was that threat of financial kind of doom hanging over us that then happened a lot in the coming years. First of all, what do you remember about that first game, Les?
Again, we played really well, and we 2-0 up against a Premiership team, and I just think that we look forward to the game at Ellen Road because I know I did.
We wanted to speak about a few players during this, and one player we saw kind of in his pomp during that game was Matt Elliott. How good was he as a player?
Matt Elliott was outstanding. He the only thing I'd say he might have lacked a little bit of pace. That's the only thing. But he also looked like he he lacked pace because he was so good on the ball and that. Just again, another great lad, down to earth. Came. Did he come from Torquay? He went from Torquay to Scunthorpe, I think, didn't he, or other way round?
Yeah.
And he was just, I mean, he's come in, no tax on his car and all that when he first got here, and then leaves for £1 million not so long later. But just a great down to earth lad. Remember going out. We went out for his birthday in Birmingham. I think we'd played down that way, and we all met up in Birmingham after the game. And like next morning, everybody's late in bed and had a few drinks and what have you. Next morning, I've gone into his room, and he's fast asleep, and I've chucked a big bucket of water on him, thrown the bucket and ran off. He'd round corner waiting for him to come out and chase us, sort of thing. I know he won't catch us. And nothing happened. And I'm like, what's going off? So I've gone in. He'd got out of bed, turned his mattress over, and just jumped back on bed, and we're asleep again. That was Matty for you. That's how laid back he was. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, brilliant it was.
So we were, obviously we know what happened in that first game. We let that kind of 2-0 lead slip.
Yeah.
Up to Elland Road.
Yeah.
Dan, did you go to that game up at Leeds?
No, I didn't. No, I was working at the time in retail, and I was working that day, so I couldn't get the day off work. But I remember getting home and switching on the radio. Obviously, living in London, I couldn't get BBC Radio Oxford, so I was listening to whatever game they were covering instead. And then they crossed over to Elland Road, and they said, Oxford are 2-0 up now. I was like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe it. And then obviously Leeds pulled one back, and then as we're seeing now, they got a goal back in 88th minute, and then they equalised. This was in the 90th, and I was so angry, and I turned around and I kicked out, and my foot hit my bed. I think I broke my foot almost. I was like limping around at work the next day, but then obviously we got the incredible winner in the last second. Just unbelievable. Les, what was it like? I mean, it's not about me, the fan. It's about you playing. Well,
you say it's not about you. It sounds like you don't go to any games at all, Dan. Are you an Oxford fan? just out of interest. Sorry, mate. Mate, what a night that was. 2-0 up again. I actually thought Strachan had got both. It just shows you how memories go, doesn't it? I remember Strachan scoring. I thought he'd gotten both, but obviously he didn't. Gone to 2-2 again, and then we still never gave up. And the fans were brilliant in bottom corner, and even the Leeds fans, they were a bit shocked that they'd got back into it as well. And then, of course, we get to the winner, and you'd expect all the Leeds fans to leave and do, and they all stayed. They all stayed and gave us a standing ovation, and clapped us off the pitch. We're all over giving it all that to our fans as well, but they still stayed, and fair play to them. I now know why I supported Leeds as a kid.
Oh, really? They were your team, were they?
They were, mate, yeah. That's why it made it even better for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as they were my team, I wanted to smash them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Les, when that equaliser went in just before full time,
yes.
How did Dennis lift you? What can you possibly say as a manager to lift a team after that kind of crushing blow?
I don't think it was too hard, if I'm being honest with you, Dan, because we've just held Leeds at home and we're 2-0 up. We're 2-2 again away from home. We've proved that we're good enough and can, to be on the same pitch as them. And I just think it was one of them. We ain't letting this slip now. And we just carried on in the same vein, and we was really good again, mate. We was really good.
After the game, almost before we got back to Oxford, we'd sold Jim Magilton because the club was in just such a financial mess.
Yeah.
I mean, how devastating was that, do you think?
It was devastating because he was such a great player. But do you know when players deserve it, going up to Southampton, perhaps could have done better. But, he deserved that move. A bit like Matty did a bit later. And as much as players do move on, don't they? Do you know what I mean? And I think when you're in that job, it's like, every season. I mean, the amount of players I sort of saw come and go in my time there. And you do know that. Because and again, you'd hope that if you had that opportunity, that they'd let you go as well. And that's no disrespect to Oxford.
Yeah.
You know, Oxford. You know, and we're never going to be, you know, a Premiership team that's got loads of money and going to spend millions. Was they? Do you know what I mean? I think we did well for. I think we had 7 years out of 10 in First Division when I was there, and to be a First Division club that's finishing mid-table and above quite regular was fantastic for a club like ours.
I remember I loved Jim Middleton as a player, and I remember
Yeah.
being absolutely gutted that he went to Southampton. To your point,
Yeah.
Les, and it wasn't a slightly bigger and better club because I thought he deserved it. I thought if he was going to leave us, I
Yeah,
wanted
I
him
know.
to go somewhere even bigger and better.
Yeah.
Just reflecting on that season, because ultimately it ended in relegation.
Yeah.
But at the end of that season, we sold Joey. I just want to ask you, you know, a quick question about Joey as someone who watched him, you know, right close up, playing with him in training day in, day out.
Yeah.
How good was he?
Joey was brilliant. He needed. I'm not. Again, I'm blowing my own trumpet. He needed a lot. I had to do all. I had to do all his positional stuff for him, because if I didn't get on his back, he wouldn't have come back and dropped in front of when we take him through. You know, all the simple stuff.
Yeah.
But it was worth that for what you got going forward, wasn't it? But to be fair to him, he did a great job defensively once he was told to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't blame him. You know, I'm not being funny. You're a superstar. You're great going forward. You score great goals. Why would you want to come back and kick people and defend? I get that. But yeah, he was a great player. Wonder the left foot. You know, could kick with his right anyway. But you know, yeah, there's not a lot to say about Joey that everybody already knows. To be honest with you,
I just love this idea of Robert giving him
oh
absolutely
mate,
all game.
it never stopped.
Come back, pull in.
And but
Yeah.
it's funny because we've been talking about it just recently with a couple of people. To be honest with you, Matt, you know, the fact that people don't talk, I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the biggest thing that's missing a lot of time in football teams. The amount of players that actually don't talk to the teammates, it's unreal. And even at that level, you know, there weren't many of us that did a lot of talking. And without that, I'd have been shit without that.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our next game, and
Yeah.
we're taking you to Peterborough at home, May 1996, which is a cracking day. The end of my favourite season ever, I think, as an Oxford fan. For younger listeners, just look up on YouTube the season highlights for the most extraordinary run of results. And we just spoke about Joey Beauchamp there, including Joey Beauchamp's goal against Blackpool, which was incredible.
Yeah.
Essentially, we overtook Blackpool on the penultimate game of the season, which meant all we had to do was win our last game, which was against Peterborough. Let's first of all, that kind of mad run of results when we won everything. What kind of triggered that, and what was it like, you know, during that period when you every game you went out, you were winning?
Yeah, I think we turned the season before on its head, because I think the season before we started brilliantly and didn't lose until Boxing Day. I think it was Wickham at home. It might have been New Year's Day. It was one of them. And then we just sort of went off the boil after that. Whereas this season, we sort of picked it up at Christmas and went on a great run, didn't we? And I mean, the game, the penultimate game when we did go up, it was Crewe away. And I just remember Crewe away and getting the results in from the others' games, and the fact that we'd moved into promotion place. Because obviously it's one of them now. Would you rather go in the playoffs and get a game at Wembley? Do you know what I mean? But I know what we wanted, and we were so pleased. And we were 0-0 again at half time, weren't we? In the
0-0, yeah.
Yeah, 0-0 at half time. And then of course once one went in, you know, floodgates open and we get another 3. But yeah, just great season, great finish. Ended up sort of promotion as well.
Yeah.
It's funny because we've been talking about this as well, because I think we got together after 10 years, and I don't know if the club's going to do it for 20 years, but we have spoken to them. 'Cause obviously next season will be 20 years. It might be 30 years actually, thinking about it, might it? 96, 2000.
Oh yes,
Oh,
30 years.
30 years.
We've
I do
lost 10 years.
apologise. I don't know what happened to them 10 years.
Um,
But yeah, I think we're going to get together even if the club don't do well.
oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
mean, that's lovely. Yeah, go on, Dan. You pick up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, that was such a team, and we've obviously talked about Joe and what role he played, but the back four, back five was kind of that's an all-time Oxford United back five. Yourself, Mike Ford, Gilchrist, Elliot, Phil Whitehead in goal.
Yeah.
Just to talk us through what it's like being part of a unit like that.
I think what I said earlier, about us sort of being a team and, we knitted so well, Matty might have lacked a bit of pace, but Gilly was quick as. Fordy lacked a bit of pace, but we'd get over his side, we'd tuck in and make sure that if he was beaten, we were there to pick him up. I think we were just a really good, well-organised team, do you know what I mean? And again, this is the third time I'm blowing over, but a team of winners.
Yeah.
And, as a back five, you couldn't get anybody that wanted to win more than us. And again, prepared to put in the hard work to make sure that happened.
We had Paul Moody on as a guest back in episode 2. What
God,
an
he must have been
he
boring.
was. No, I mean, he is an interesting character. He's a really interesting character. And obviously, we had so many great goals and stuff to look like. What was he like? What's he like as a player? It's such an enigma because he's a goal monster, huge and confident on the pitch, and then obviously quite a shy, quiet guy off the pitch. Right?
I think he was quite shy and on it. It was one of them where we played to his strengths. We gave him the ball and let him do what he wanted. And again, used what he got. Great strike. Loved his penalties. They was brilliant, weren't they? And again, another good lad. Really nice. Comes over as thick as pig shit though. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying he is. But yeah, just again, the way he talks, everything about him is just so low key, isn't he? And what have you? But just a grand lad. Again, another good one.
Yeah. I mean, you speak about the anniversary coming up. I mean, it's heartbreaking to think that 3 of the team are no longer with us.
Yeah.
We've obviously talked about Joey. I really wanted to ask you about Mickey Lewis, who obviously you mentioned at the top of this, and obviously you roomed for so long, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
What was he like as a man?
Again, I think that's the beauty of my years there. We were a team, and we loved each other, and we got on with each other, and we worked for each other, and if ever Mick wanted to, I lived across the road from him in Banbury. We both bought places on this new estate, and so we ended up sort of travelling together as well, and going out at weekends after games, and going out for a meal and all that sort of thing. So we were really close, and loved a drink. Bit too much maybe, but I'm not going to knock him for it. We went to where did we go? We went to Spain, and the nice bit, and within an hour he's actually jumped over a garden fence, landed on a cactus, but like there was a 40-foot drop other side as well. Do you know what I mean? And we've managed to drag him out, and he's got the cactus spines all over his body, but he can't feel them because he's drunk anyway. And there was one in his hand that was still there 6 months later, because we'd been there for it went 2 weeks. It's probably only been a week, but the skin had grown over it, so he couldn't get it out. He just left it. It's funny because we'd come back for pre-season, and the week or 2 weeks before we come back, he'd just eat fruit, so he'd shit all day, just so that he could make the weights and that.
Brilliant.
But great workman. He gave his all every day in training and every match he played, and just a grand fella.
Love that. Okay, Les, we're going to jump on a few seasons. And the fourth game we want to chat about is Chelsea again in the FA Cup. We were in financial ruin. Genuinely, there was a real concern the club wasn't going to survive the season. Our star striker, Dean Windas, was rumoured to be leaving. And then after a 3-1 win over Crewe in the third round, we're drawn against Chelsea, who just become, of course, the money bags of English football. We're throwing money around like nobody's business. And Sky chose to be there on a Monday night match.
I remember, yeah. Before that day, the newspapers came out and they sort of did a 2-page spread with me and Frank LaBeouf, and did all the likes and dislikes and all that sort of thing. And I think I was driving a Ford Escort and he was driving a McLaren. Do you know what I mean? It was one of them type of things, which was brilliant. And I can picture the picture in the paper even now, to be honest with you, mate. It's funny how things come by. But I just remember him having such the team that they were putting out that night, and everyone was a superstar apart from John Terry, who became a superstar. I'm positive that he made his debut that day. And to be beating them, and I'm sure it was sort of 95th, 96th minute when Big Kev gave away what the referee deemed a penalty. In our eyes, there was no way that was a penalty. It was just a full-blooded challenge from Big Kev. I've got to be honest with you, I used to love playing against teams that are deemed better than us, because I know that 9 times out of 10 as a team we were always up for them games. Do you know what I mean? I think we always had players who could play at a higher level, and a great way to show what they can do.
And you were captain that day, of course, as well.
Yeah, I was captain for quite a lot of my time at Oxford, obviously. And to sort of lead the team out against the big boys, it's special, isn't it?
How good was Dean Windas as a player?
Brilliant, but what his best attribute was the fact that he wanted to. He was another winner. We had a lot of winners in my time there, and he was another one. He quite selfish, but sometimes goal scorers have to be that way. But great lad, worked hard, great strike on him. Great touch. Scored a lot of goals and went on to have a great career in Premiership, didn't he?
When Kev dived in like this, what was when you saw him diving? What were you thinking?
Well, as you see there, I was just having a go with the ref to give him penalty. I genuinely believe that's the referee's decision. That's a poor one. That'd have never been given if we had VAR in them days.
I'm going to say something really controversial.
Go on, mate.
I don't think it is a penalty.
Yeah.
But I can also see why it was given.
It looks clumsy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that's Big Kev. Big Kev was clumsy, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? Clumsy looking. Everything he did came over as being clumsy, but it doesn't mean, in my eyes, it doesn't mean it's a penalty.
No, I mean, it wasn't, and it was. I don't think I've ever felt a feeling like I felt when he blew the whistle and pointed to the spot. Just that moment.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that really teased me as well was Elliot Jackson, who'd had such a good game.
Yeah.
He almost saved it, and from where I was sitting behind the London Road goal, standing behind the London Road goal, I thought he had saved it, and I went, "Yeah!" Oh.
Bless you.
Oh, it's absolutely.
I mean, what a great game for Elliot, though.
Yeah. Again, I mean, he barely played for us again after that, did he? A couple of games.
He'll never forget that. It was heartbreaking because, we was going to win, and we deserved to win as well that night, against a team of superstars, yet they can't beat us. Do you know what I mean? And we showed again what we've always been about at Oxford United, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? We always perform well against the odds, and that was just another game where we did exactly that. Do you know what I mean? And it would have been nice to have beat them, and captain them that night as well. Do you know what I mean? So even more poignant for me. So just a shame. But again, you've got, we're going to play Stamford Bridge again, and team of superstars again. And do you know what I mean? It's one of them. Yeah, come on, then bring it on.
I mean, for me, I just wanted to win that so badly,
I
and
know.
people did say to me for a few games afterwards, like, or sorry, a few days afterwards, they'd say, "Oh, but think of the payday, replay at Chelsea." I didn't want
Yeah,
that. I
I
didn't. I
know.
didn't. I didn't. I just wanted to beat them. I wanted to beat them so badly.
Yeah,
The other thing that really broke my heart was I kind of turned Kevin Francis into a kind of national laughing stock. And this is a guy who's a really decent guy,
yeah,
150 career goals,
yeah.
and like he'd had such a hard pre-season. He almost died apparently with a knee infection that had gone bad, and he'd been rushed back into this game and he wasn't ready, and it kind of ruined him, I think, as well. Like he didn't have a good game for us after that.
No, and he was another great lad. I was big mates with Kev, and again used to go to Birmingham and have nights out with me and our lass. Just a lovely family man. You won't you won't believe the difference on him off the pitch and on it. And yeah, because the first couple of days when he's coming to training, and we're playing keep ball, and he can't, not his game, and we're megging him and all sorts. You know what I mean? And you're thinking, oh Jesus! But I tell you what he gave us was 110% week in, week out. Great aerial ability, obviously. I just remember. I say I remember. I'm positive. I think it was Joey taking all the corners, and Kev would just stand on near post, and all he had to do was deliver it because he would score. The keepers couldn't even get over him. Even though they've got a jump, Kev just scored so many goals in that situation. But again, I mean, somebody that you'd hate to play against, you're a centre half, because he's not, he's going to batter you all day. Oxford's had a few of them strikers, but yeah, he was a great lad, and again scored some great goals for Oxford, didn't he? And played some good stuff for him.
Yeah, I often think of that penalty as a bit of a sliding doors moment for the club, because after the replay we sold Dean Windas, of course.
Yeah,
Sam, as you mentioned, took
yeah,
over, but only really focused on getting the stadium finished. We got
yeah,
relegated, and it pretty much started that slide
yeah.
down, didn't it, Les? And it obviously
Well,
took us a long time to get out of it. It
yeah.
must have been a tough time as a player, and for you in particular, who'd spent like a decade at the club and could kind of see what was happening.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny, Matt, because he's come in, and he's gonna take us on a journey. He did, and it's unfortunately it was the one that we didn't want. But he straight away, I sort of, him putting us up in his hotel and that sort of thing. It's like, oh, he seems no, it weren't like that. It was one of them. What's he after? And then you sort of first couple of months sort of played out, and then Burnley came in for me, and it was when they had money, and they signed Gaza. Funnily enough, Ian Wright.
Mm.
There was a couple of others as well, and they came in for us. And at this point, it might have gone on a bit because Mickey Lewis was manager at the time, and he says, they've come in. And I said, look, I'm not bothered. I'm sort of nearly 10 years up. I'm happy here. I don't really need to go anywhere. Liam was at Coventry, so everything was, my life was great. And so I went and Kassam wanted to see us, and I had a chat with Kassam, and we shook hands on a new 2-year deal. I didn't ask for any more money. Not that I was the best paid player or anything, because I was nowhere near. But I weren't bothered. I was just happy, and so we shook hands on on a 2-year deal, and we'd gone. Then we had a few midweek games as well as weekends, so I never went in and signed it. And Liam was in hospital at the time and got something going off with his tummy, so I never really sort of went in and signed it. And but we'd agreed on it. We shook on it. So as far as I was concerned, that was it. And then I've gone in 2 or 3 weeks later, and we'd lost 3 or 4 games in that time. And Mick said to me, he said, if we get relegated, we won't be able to afford to keep you. I said, oh, okay. Because again, I was nowhere near a top paid player. He says, we won't be able to do the contract. And I says, this come from Kassam? He says, yeah. So because again, spoke to Sam. He said, "Yeah, we'll honour it if we stay up." And me being me, I said, "Yeah, no worries, we'll stay up." And then we stayed up, and then he offered me he offered me a year on less money and everything. So it was like, yeah, that's the only reason I left. I wouldn't have gone if it weren't for that. Do you know what I mean? And then, of course, I've gone on and then played another 90. I think it was 94 games in the 2 years when I left Oxford. I played 94 games for Mansfield and captained them to promotion and everything. So, but yeah, that I wouldn't have left Oxford. You know, I was in Oxford as far as I'm concerned. I'm an Oxford lad. Do you know what I mean? I'd have never left, even though Mansfield were my own town club. I'd have never left. Yeah, if he had to shit on us, that's yeah, I want to go. I want to go.
I was so gutted, Les, when you left. But also, with hindsight, I'm quite pleased you did leave when you did, because the last couple of years of your contract would have been a total and utter shit show.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the season after you left was probably the worst in the history of our club.
yeah.
And then, moving to the Kassam, that was such a soulless experience as well. I think you probably left. I mean, you left with us staying up on the last game of the season, or penultimate game of the season,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, that's right. And again, you know, I ended up finishing at my hometown club, and my dad was able to come and watch. He'd been ill and he couldn't get down to Oxford anymore, so that was that. You know, there was lots of benefits in it, but I'd have never have left without a doubt.
Les, there's
Sorry,
one other memory I had of you, right?
go on,
And
mate.
this is it's just it's a weird thing, but I picked up on watching it on our televised games, and I always noticed that opposition players who you played with previously always made like an extra special effort to come and say hello to you in the tunnel. And I remember Rufus Brevett for QPR
Yeah,
literally barged past people and came up and gave you a massive hug before the game.
yeah.
And it just made me think you must be like the best teammate in the world.
Oh, that's Matt. That's Matt. He
Well,
knows.
well, this is me queuing up, Matt, to talk about your time at Banbury together. Huh? So
Yeah,
this is
I, I'm no different now, mate. I was really fortunate to be a footballer, and I've always felt that way. Not because I weren't good enough or anything like that, but the fact that millions of kids want to be a footballer, don't they? That's the whole dream, and I was able to do it, and I don't know how, because you know, coming from a mining village, no car in family, you know, oh God, my for me to make it, it was unreal, to be honest with you. And like I've always, and even getting released, I got released when I was 17 at Chesterfield. I did a year's YTS. They started off with 9 of us, and there was 3 of us left at the end, and they wanted us all to go in and without getting paid. So they wanted to keep the 3 of us, and I'm like, well, I can't do that. I live. It was 12 quid a week on bus. Do you know what I mean? And if they didn't give me 12 quid a week, I couldn't catch the bus from where I lived. And so I said, no, I can't do that. So I left and, you know, sort of sent letters out everywhere. Mansfield answered, and, you know, luckily I ended up going there, but they paid me £7 a week bus money. Um, and so I didn't get paid for playing. I got paid. They paid me bus money, 7 quid a week, and I ended up getting first team after about 6 months later, purely because we had a great FA Cup run, FA Youth Cup run. We got through to semi-finals away at Watford. They beat us, and managers started to come and watch us because obviously it was big for Mansfield to get that far, um, and that's how it started. Do you know what I mean?
And that is why we love Les Robinson, because he is the
But
most humble man in football. He says, I don't know how I made it, and like Mr. Dependable, he was incredible. And you know, Les says, ask Matt what he was like as a teammate. Just a little story from our time at Banbury, and I might have mentioned once or twice, Les, on this podcast that I played for Banbury and Oxford City, and one or two
okay,
others, right? Just once or twice. I've
only
only
once or twice. That's
once or
what I was a
twice.
bit shocked at, Matt.
And you know, Les came. I had two parts to my Banbury career. One when I was quite good, and then I broke my leg, and one when I wasn't so good. And when Les came, I wasn't quite so good. But it was an absolute privilege to play with players like Les Robinson and Les Phillips and Kevin Brocky, of course, and people like that. But one distinct memory I have about Les, and he was just the most wonderful person to be around, an absolute joy in the dressing room, and he put in the same effort on the pitch as he had done for 10 years at Oxford United, which I always thought was incredible. But one little story was we were away somewhere, and I've forgotten where it was, but it was quite far. And Les, you'll remember that when it was like a big away game, well, every away game actually, we had the players at the back of the coach, and then the fans would also come on the coach,
Yep.
and the first part of the coach was fans. So I remember there's quite a few away fans coming on this particular trip. It was a good away day. I've forgotten where it was. So all the players had to push up a bit more to the back. And I pushed up and I sat down, and then Les comes and sits next to me, and I'm like, oh my God, Les Robinson sat next to me. We had like a 3-hour journey, and I was like, I was a bit in awe. So I was like, what am I going to speak to him about? So I turned to Les and I go, Les, tell me about West Brom away. And I got all, I just got him to tell me about, and if you've never seen it, look it up, because I was in the away end as an Oxford United fan, and I think you remember, Les, we were kicking towards the away end.
Yeah.
And he picks up this ball and he goes past the couple and he just lets rip, and it goes in the
Left
top
leg as
corner.
well.
It was incredible. And so I literally got Les to talk me through the goal as a bit of an icebreaker. And then, we had a great 3-hour trip to, as I say, I forgot where it was, but a wonderful teammate, and leads us down quite nicely into our quiz, I think, because one of the things we need to talk about is Les's goals, and he didn't get a lot.
So let's do the quiz answers. I know you've been thinking about it all the time during this long chat that we've had, during the technical breaks as well. So what was unusual about Les's first 2 games for Oxford United? Les, this one's over to you.
I mean, I haven't got a clue, so shall I just have a little guess?
Go on then, mate.
Because
I know it.
Were they, I don't know, were they against local rivals? Was one against Swindon and one against Reading or something? I don't know.
Nah. Both against Port Vale.
That is correct. They're both against Port Vale. One was the last game of the previous season, and one was the first game of the next season. Both home, both against Port Vale. I didn't know that until I was researching the quiz. Right, Les scored 6 goals for Oxford. Whom did he score against? I'll tell you what, West Brom is definitely one of them, yeah.
Now,
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play the goals, Les. You said we wouldn't get the goals for you. I've got the goals for you,
You
Les.
got them?
Yeah,
All 6?
All 6.
all 6.
Before we play them, though, should I not tell you who they are? Because I do remember.
Go on then.
West Brom, Peterborough, Tranmere, Watford, York and QPR.
I think you've got that. So hang on, let's have a quick watch of them all.
Thank God I didn't score any more.
There you go. Watch them back and talk us through them.
Benton took the lead.
There you go. That's the West
What
Brom.
frustration though, mate.
From Les Robinson.
Even I was shocked.
But it's quantity.
What a
Couldn't have started better for United. Just 41 seconds after.
And this was the following week. So having not scored in a lot of games, you then got 2 in a week.
Les Robinson gets his second goal.
That was because Steve McLaren took over, played me centre midfield for 2 games running, scored 2 out of 2, and then put me back to right back.
And at 3-1, they should be sitting pretty.
That's a nice goal as well. Here's one at QPR.
Yeah.
Rufus Brevitt marking you there?
It would have been. I still speak to Rufus now.
He played for us for a while, actually.
Yeah.
In the really dark days. Here you go, here's another one. Talk us through it, Les, for those who are listening.
Yeah, took it inside, smashed it top corner. Mark Samways, the goalkeeper, he used to put me up at his house for away games and that at Doncaster.
With just minutes to go.
And this one is the Tranmere one we're watching here.
Little 1-2. Here we go. Oh, round the corner.
Oh,
Some decent goals, to be fair, for Oxford.
Yeah, good stuff, mate, innit?
Yeah.
Great memories.
Shame there was only 6 of them. Next.
how many games did it take Les to score his first goal for Oxford United?
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to have a guess at 85.
I'm going to look for 125.
Kind of almost exactly in between. It was exactly your 100th game, Les. That one at
Was
West Brom.
it? Was that? Would that have been the Peterborough?
West Brom.
West Brom one. Oh, that's interesting.
I counted that up for you. So
100
it was a
games.
great stat for you.
100 games, I like that.
All right. The popular and hilarious fanzine Yellow Fever had a regular cartoon about Les in which Les was portrayed as which animal? Do you remember this, Les? I used to sell it to you outside the ground.
I know. That was on page 1. All the slaughtering was on page 2. I remember that.
Yeah, we were nice to you. We loved you.
I know, mate. I know.
What is a trustworthy and reliable and friendly animal that's easy to draw?
Got to be easy to draw.
You were a cat, Les. You were a cat.
I was a cat.
You were a cat, yeah. We also compared you to one other person as well. We did a look-alike, but I'll let Matt tell you who that was off camera later on.
It's not my job to. Can Les remember it?
Les, right, it's because of your moustache. We did a look-alike with you and Barry Chuckle, which I thought.
Oh yeah. I don't mind that.
To me,
Me and Barry. I know our last fancies him.
Have more goals been scored by Les's or Robinsons for Oxford United?
Okay, I'm going to have a crack at this one. I'm going to say Les's.
Because what Robinsons were they though, Matt? Because
That's
obviously it's me, Les Phillips, who wouldn't have scored that many goals.
No,
But
he didn't score a lot,
Les
but
Taylor.
Les Taylor as well.
We're not big
And then-
goal scorers either of us, are we?
No, but then I was thinking the
Is there any
Robinsons.
more Robinsons?
There's Marvin Robinson, and then it was Matthew Robinson, wasn't it?
Oh, he was a fullback, wasn't he? Or
These are four. So I was
Defender,
thinking
wasn't he?
probably something, and you got 6, Les. I reckon it's probably like 12 against 8 or something like that.
yeah, I'm happy with that then, Matt.
The answer is Les's by quite
There we go, Matt. Well done, pal.
by quite a long way. Les Phillips got like 15 or 16. Les Taylor got 15 or 16, and of course Les Robinson got 6. Whereas Marvin Robinson only got about 4, and Matt Robinson only got about 5. Which kind of answers the next question. There have been 2 other players called Les.
Yeah, we've got that one, though, mate, haven't
Robinson,
we?
you've got that very nicely. Who played right back the game before Les's debut, and who played right back in the game after Les left?
I think it would be Gary Smart, wouldn't it?
It was Gary Smart, correct.
Yeah. They signed a lad. Dennis Smith signed him, didn't he? He signed 2 fullbacks when I left.
Was it?
And they're both rubbish.
Steve Davis?
No.
Whelan?
He was there already.
No, they was already there, mate.
They were already there, weren't they?
Oh, did he play for Norwich at one point?
Don't think so. He was a
Edwards,
Scottish
was it?
lad. He was Scottish. There's
Edwards?
a clue
Was
to
it
you.
Edwards?
No.
No. Oh, I remember.
It went.
him,
There was we'd already got a left back from Scotland. Neil McGowan. He was left back from
Yeah,
Scotland.
no, it was.
It's not him.
John Robertson. I'll put you out of your misery. John Robertson.
I'd have never got that, mate. I say he went to patch on me. Did he play 94 games in 2 years? Because I did when I left.
Did he score against Brock?
I'm not bitter at all.
Yeah.
He was terrible. Don't worry about it, Les.
Oh,
Your legacy remains intact. Finally, what was number 1 on the 19th of March 1990 when Les signed for Oxford?
I can have a good stab at this.
Go on then, mate.
Was it Brian Adams?
Incorrect.
Oh, I like Brian Adams.
Don't know. Let's have a go.
No chance, mate.
Tank fly, boss walk, jam, nitty gritty. You're listening to the boy from the big bad city. This is Jam Hot.
It's what?
Jam Hot.
Oh, quite a good song to be fair.
Music with music.
Enough of that before the rights people get hold of us.
I mean,
Good stuff, mate. Good
It's not
stuff.
really Les's sort of music, but it's an absolute
It
banger.
probably was when I was dancing in them days, mate. It didn't matter what was on.
Down the park end.
Exactly. It didn't matter what was on.
Love that.
I'd have been bopping.
Oh. Les, very quickly, thank you so much for joining us today. You're
You're
still
welcome.
in the area, obviously, still
Yeah.
very much an Oxfordshire man. Do you get to watch Oxford United from time to time, listen on the radio, anything like that?
I get to 2 or 3 games. I'm still patron and of the Oxford in community. I do a bit with that still. It's great to still be, part of Oxford United. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny. There was somebody I took dog at 7 o'clock in the morning. Somebody's on the local park with an Oxford United kit on. He looked about 60, 65, 70, whatever. And I just went over and I said, I've got to come and say hello. I said, 6:30 in the morning, running about in an Oxford kit. And he says, oh, hello, Les. And he's like, yeah, I play walking football for one of the local villages. Do you know what I mean? And I actually took walking football. I took a couple of sessions up at Oxford United. And there's no way it's walking football. They run more than I ever did.
I think that when I watch it as well.
Shocking.
You smash into each other.
Oh, mate, really, yeah. So I still meet people now. Do you know what I mean? And there's not many now that sort of remember our times, but there's still a few because I think again fans we Oxford they don't leave. They're there for life, aren't they? Nothing will stop that. So it is still nice, to when I do meet people and they sort of say hello and then we start reminiscing and then 3 hours later we can go home.
Les, it's been a privilege. You will always be Mr. Oxford United. We can officially call you that.
Thanks,
it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Listeners, Dan and I will be back in a couple of weeks, well, maybe less than that, probably a week actually, to look ahead to the new season. And hopefully we'll have another special guest soon. But Les, thank you very much for your time today.
I've loved every minute of it, Matt. Thanks both of you. Thanks, Dan. It's brilliant to to reminisce and think about these times and yeah.
Les, honestly, I enjoyed watching you so much over the years. Everything Matt said about you at the beginning, you are truly an Oxford United legend, and lovely catching up with you, and lovely watching that goal back, and lovely talking about John Robertson as well. So he was a real player, wasn't he? Huh?
Proper players.
Lovely. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks all.